Thank you and good morning. I'm presenting this on behalf of our collaborators from East China University of Science Technology. I have to make a declaration: the experimental design and execution are from them. My contribution is more or less in the last 48 hours. When they send slides, so I try to, make them, well, I did the places that I can edit, and then make them ask a few more slides, and add some references. That's my contribution. So I prefer not very hard questions. This is not my subject. But before I do that, I probably should say the reason that we have this collaboration is because Dr. Zhu spent a year in our lab about 2 years ago, okay, and working on DIC strain mapping near the crack tip, okay, and he probably liked it because we presented that work in Urbino, okay, and he may have persuaded his boss, who is Professor Xuan, and Professor Xuan's PhD students to say, let's use similar sort of approach, okay. So I think that's probably why this connection, and I got to be a co-author for that. Now, if I can pinch a slide from my students here yesterday, because he was too much in a hurry, he didn't explain too well. If I could just emphasize the approach that we've taken. We regard fatigue crack growth in terms of primary events and secondary events. And we think the most important thing actually happened in front of the crack, not behind the crack. Now, this is, if you think from a physical perspective, this very, very simple idea that is for the crack to propagate, the material ahead of the crack must separate, allow the crack to go ahead. Yeah? So it's a very, very simple idea. Now, to be able to look into this experimentally, the best approach is to look at strain because it's easy to measure. A lot of work has been done behind the crack, also at quite micro scale. I'm not saying they are not important because there's massive methods already been shown. This the COD versus load, this is the crack profile, and observation that we made about closure. And in fact, here I actually showed during the normal fatigue cycle, the crack actually closed almost all the well until the peak load. It's just by different percentage. Okay, so essentially, by large, the crack is closed during a normal fatigue cycle, constant amplitude fatigue. Okay, so essentially, that doesn't really correlate with the knee we measured at 0.3 or 0.4, whatever. And more importantly, the question is, I think Neil probably alluded to that, is to say, whatever happened on behind of the crack tip, we really don't know how they actually affect the events that ahead of the crack tip. Okay? So the idea is then to say, okay, if we have the tools, then look at what's happening in front of the crack, if we can. Okay? The only problem is looking ahead of the crack. If you talk about crack growth in the normal, less mid-range Paris regime, if you like, okay, during a few cycles, you really have to look at very close to the crack tip. This places a challenge to experimental methods. So normally you simply do not have the resolution to look so close to the crack tip. Okay? So I think that's just an introduction to the methods. What they've chosen is overload. This is not something that I have chosen because this is quite a lot of work already done. A quick search, I found those references. I do apologize if I overlooked any work that's already published. But from those selected references, you can see essentially people have used DIC, X-ray diffraction, and neutron diffraction to look into the overload effect on fatigue crack growth. So we know X-ray diffraction, although it's very powerful, can look into the bulk response, elastic strain. from our own experience that we know this is limited in terms of the resolution. Okay, so essentially, I think the best thing that we do, Pablo maybe from field with us, is no more than 50 microns. Now, 50 microns depends on the grain size. It is just too large to be able to see the subtle changes during the couple cycles, a few cycles of fatigue. Let's see. DIC's resolution is higher for sure, but DIC, as we all know, it is actually a surface measurement. Okay. But even for DIC, if we want to look at the crack profile, although you have seen something quite nicely done by Shahir, that's actually quite hard work. Normally, the resolution is not good enough. So my colleague in China has chosen the SEM plus DIC. This is not new. David already presented this sort of approach. But I think what they have done is they use SEM plus DIC to look at the full field strains and opening displacement. That I'm going to. The overload, everyone knows about this. So if you have a normal constant amplitude fatigue cycle, you apply an overload, then you generate a larger plastic zone, and then compressive stresses, that leads to retardation. The work that they're trying to do here is, what they're trying to do here is to look at how the strain evolve during the overload events. That is before, at overload, and after. So they use a scale. So this is essentially the base metal that the team presented on Monday. The CT specimen, normally pre-crack. After the pre-cracking, they cut a small single-edged notch specimen. And that's the small specimen. So they put small specimen into array graphics, very similar to what David showed yesterday. This is the loading situation. I would say the overload ratio is quite small, quite conservative. I think it's quite delicate specimen. So the loading cycle is like this. Okay, they cycled for 30 cycles, then they gave the single overload afterward, another 30 cycles. The blue dots are the point they made the ICM image, subsequently they did the DIC correlation. Okay. So essentially this is the resolution that they used for both the measurement and the correlation. Now here is the first shot on the near tip strain. This is the before overload. This is at the overload, both at maximum load. You can see even if with overload ratio is only 20%, you know, it's 1.2. The plastic zone, the red one that you see is actually plastic zone that I can explain that how they work this out has changed, increased massively given the overload, due to the overload. And what about after the overload? Now this is before overload, this is at overload, and this is after the overload, one cycle, okay? And you just, okay, by eye, you probably can see those two don't really change very much, I would say. Oh, it's really fast. Right, now here is the morphology that they've taken, okay? So this is a cycle, this is normal cycle, ABC, okay? And this is an overload cycle, and this is another cycle after the overload. These points are marked are the ICM images that you can see. Okay, this is at beginning, zero load or minimum load. Okay, you can't see very much the crack. You can't. It's probably closed. B is a peak load of the normal maximum load. Okay, you can see the crack is open. When you go to minimum load, zero, closed again. Now the interesting thing is, when you go to the overload, this is B, the overload you can see a bit more opening there. But when you actually reduce to 0 here, you can still see the crack very well, which means after the overload, you don't have a closure. However, we all know the crack growth rate reduces quite drastically after overload. So this certainly can't be explained by closure. So again, you're going up again, going down again. Not only the crack remain open, after the overload, one cycle further, you still have open crack at the moment. So as usual, they've done the normal thing. They look at the COD, they measure the COD behind the crack, and they measure the strain response ahead of the crack tip. And they use 50 micron, which is about the 1 grain size. And then they give some result on that. So here is the black ones. It's the strain response. Oh, actually, it was low. It's the response. I beg your pardon. Before the overload, the red is the overload. The blue is after the overload. And this is taken from the wake of the crack. This is taken ahead of the crack tip. And you can say that those two are quite similar. Well, between this and this, are quite similar. I like to get rid of the 0.3, but I couldn't. I can't edit this. I'm not sure you agree with that or not, but anyway, that's a bit clear. So, this is probably not less interesting, but anyway, just show that this is before the overload, and this is 30 cycles after the overload. And you can see clearly the crack actually branched. And further on, 90 cycles, and clearly you have a bifurcation. And they trying to work out the average crack growth rate. I'm not too sure about that, but anyway, it's a surface measurement, and they actually, this is the average crack growth rate. They measure that. Guessing they must be the main crack. Okay, then what they did is trying to look at the parameters that might be useful for correlation. Now, on the left diagram is normalized strain, and this is taken at ahead of the crack tip at 50 micron, 1 grain size. Okay, and you can see quite clearly the strain increasing. In fact, it's a very nice increase by eye. Okay, it's almost linear. This is post overload. And what they did then is work out the increasing rate. This is a rate. This is looks slightly not as nice as that, but that's what they did. And they estimated the plastic zone area. I think this yesterday's presentation on this, but in their case they simply just use strain, not convert it to stress. So essentially you can, from DIC you can get the space map and you get the strain map, and from the strain map they look at the nominal strain. Nominal strain is also maximum principal strain. And then they filter and count the number of data point, which is the data in the subset, I think. And when the strain is larger than 2%. And they calculated the total area based on this. So this is the calculation. And then what they did is to put those three together, which is the crack growth rate, which is black, and you can see this retardation and gradually climbing up to the normal. And then there's a strain increasing rate. You just see that they have actually done the conversion from the ratcheting strain. And then they look at plastic zone size, which is the area, something like that. And then what they did is to I suggested you might want to plot this against the crack growth rate, so if you want to do a correlation. So this is something, I mean, this is tentative, obviously, so it has some, but I personally think that we need to take a great pinch of salt to judge whether or not something works or not, simply by looking at fitting the crack growth rate, because the crack growth rate has a lot of scatters in it, and it's very individual to materials. So to conclude, they have combined the DIC and ICM to work on full field strain and opening displacement over a single overload. What they say is that the results seem to show that the strain and the closure doesn't seem to vary very much. Maybe the overload ratio is low, which is true, and they also say the period has very low hardening. And they attempted to use plastic zone size and stream increase rate to correlate the crack growth rate. I mean, clearly this is just preliminary work, you know, just freshly baked from oven that I presented to you. Thank you very much.